they think that they don't understand, but like I'm always like, what do you feel when you look at this thing? That's the only thing that matters. Like, do you feel like joy? Do you feel like sadness? Do you feel like confusion? Whatever you feel, that's what it is. Like, you don't have to feel exactly what the artist like felt when they were creating it.
Welcome to the Gathered Arts Podcast. I'm Cass and that's Kat. We're going to sit down with our creative community and chat about life as artists while Lee paints a portrait of our lovely guest.
Do you want to do a little intro into who you are and your practice?
Sure. My name is Anna Kavehmehr. I'm an Iranian-Canadian artist, illustrator. I study graphic design with a minor in illustration in Iran, and then did my Master of Digital Media here. So when I was in Iran, I was like mostly wanting to become like a children's book illustrator. So like all of my thesis was like around like children's books, and then like I did a lot of research on children's books, illustrations, and then I was just like so involved. but then like I think I even did like a lot of like articles. I wrote like articles on children's books, and then did a bunch of like I illustrated some children's books, but they never got published. But then moved here and then sort of like changed my way into like getting some illustration commissions, and then moved into like more of a fine art and landed to my current style, which is like, I feel like it's more authentic and more me. So I hope that was like enough.
Yeah, I think that was great.
That was great.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't really know much about your like background in children's books and illustration. I think that's really interesting, and it is quite a departure from what you are doing now, which is like graphite, very dark and kind of eerie in ways. But what kind of brought you to children's illustration to begin with?
I had a prof back in Iran that I had like an illustration course that he was teaching, and he was like breaking down all these like children's books that were like amazing. It was like, it was illustrations, but it wasn't like typical children's books. It was like it had story, it had like different elements, surrealism, like so many different elements that it made me fall in love with children's books. And then I was like to a point that I would like collect children's books because of their illustrators. I really loved it, and like both of my thesis were like on it. I did like I did illustrate like for my thesis, like I started like doing children's books. But even when I was doing that, it was like dark, and it was like
so funny.
It was like a dark, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland, or like it was just like I still had like my dark mind in it, and my dark twist. But
What draws you to that so much then? That kind of like twist.
It's the surrealism in it.
Okay.
Because like with children's books, you're really free to create like whatever world that you want.
Oh, that's
and
true.
Like it's very imaginative.
Yeah.
And because the text is super like simple, you can imagine so many different ways to create an image. And I still love it. Like I still like, if there's an opportunity, I would love to like do it, but I just like moved away from it, I guess.
Is that storytelling aspect really important to you in your work?
Very much so. Yeah. I think the reason I really loved illustration was that through like you could just tell a story through art, through you don't have to like it doesn't need to be like a movie, it doesn't need to be I don't know, a book, but like you're telling it with you're telling it visually, basically. Like I really enjoy that like somebody will like look at a piece of art and they can form a story in their mind. It might not be what you intended, but like just that that connection is very interesting to me.
Do you find yourself like developing these stories as you're kind of drawing and figuring it out, or are you trying to tell a story through your drawings? Like, is it one way or the other?
For me, it always like starts with a feeling that I can't express.
Okay.
And then I will research that feeling, if that makes sense. Or like, for example, like I would listen to a piece of like music, and an emotion like stays with me, and then I'm like, okay, what was it about this music? What was it? The lyrics? Was it like the notes? And then I go like super deep like into that, and then I'm like, okay, so like now that I know what it is, like let's make it into a story. And then I have something sometimes in my mind that I'm like, okay, like what if like this is the general story and I'm just doing like one instance of that story, like 1 second of that story, or like something like that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just like I just improvise. I just have like an element, and then I start with that and then add weird things to it.
Yeah. Just kind of
like,
see where it goes from there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's different, like depending on what I'm feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like even like outside of just like illustration and art, stories can get interpreted in like so many different ways.
Exactly.
Does that, I guess, endless like different interpretations kind of stress you out sometimes?
No, I love it. I actually love it. Like at Artist Project or any of the places that I've shown, I try not to share what my story was.
Yeah.
And then I ask them what they see and what they feel. And then once they tell me, I'm like, oh, like it's interesting. I didn't intend that part, but this is like how I intended it. And then sometimes like some people see things in your art that you didn't even like notice when you were doing it.
Absolutely.
But then they say it and then you're like, how did you know me so well? I'm like, okay, like that is creepy.
Yeah, it's
like,
just like
I didn't even
subconsciously.
intend that. Yeah. It's so like I really love like just hearing other people's interpretation of your work, because that's what makes you grow, I think. Even like sometimes like a couple of years after you like realize what you were doing, and then you're like, oh my god, like I was doing that like without knowing. So like it's really interesting.
Yeah, and everything kind of does just like lead together, and like you don't realize that like one thing leads to the other, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, like what the fuck? Everything's connected.
Oh my god. Like, wow, when did this happen?
In art school for illustration, is it different per se than like, I'm only speaking from my experience being in OCAD, but it was very like focused on criticism. Like you would present your work, you would get that feedback. Did you have that kind of loop in art school as well?
We did have that, but the thing is, most of my illustration courses was with this one prof that I'm talking about, and like I took like some outside courses with him specifically, and he really had like focus on criticism and like just dissecting like different like
me out.
And it was very helpful though. I loved like he was the one that made me write like criticism even like on children's book like illustrations. I think I learned a lot just by doing that.
Right.
And that wasn't like really in school. It was like something extra that we were doing.
Yeah.
So I think that I learned a lot by that, doing that. And I don't really like take criticism like at least in school. I don't take it to heart, because like I'm like, oh, it's like they're trying to teach me. Now it's a different story, but but like in school I was fine. I was like, oh, that makes sense. They know better than me, or like something like that.
I feel like it's also different when like you're asking for the criticism rather than people just coming up to you and being like, so why green?
Yes, exactly. I'm like, because because I like it.
Since you studied like illustration in school, was there a reason why you switched to a more like digital media, like graphic design study after?
So my actual major was graphic design. Like I did like graphic design in school, like in high school and then in university.
In high school as well?
Yeah, in high school as well. So like in Iran, you can just go to, I don't know how it is here, but like you can just go to art school and then either study like painting, like graphic design, like different things. You can even do acting in high school. Yeah, it's like different things. So like I wanted to... derail, sorry. I wanted to study acting.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then my mom was like, no, you're not doing that. So then I was like, okay, then I like drawing, so like I'll do graphic design, because it was like the closest thing I guess. But I had like a minor in illustration kind of, and then I tried like going into graphic design as a career and hated it.
How come?
I was like, I think the graphic design that you learn in school is so much more like interesting. There's so much more like freedom to create things, create creative things.
Is it because you're like given projects to create?
And you're choosing your own projects, but then when you go into the workforce, it's just like, oh, can you make this logo exactly like this? I want it exactly like this. And I was like, okay, I can't do that. I'm like, that is not me. Yeah, I need more freedom in my creative expression, I guess.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So what was the program you studied here again?
I did a Master of Digital Media.
Wow.
And that was sort of like out of desperation. Okay. I was like just trying to get into anything. I was trying to get into animation, trying to like get into like illustration, different things. But then it was really hard to just find like a creative job without like not having like a Canadian education or like experience. So I was like, oh, maybe I should get my master's, and then that would help me get like a And then it didn't. Spoiler. But it was fun. Like we had, it was a very like interdisciplinary program. And I met like so many people that I wouldn't have met like otherwise. It was just like very different backgrounds.
Right.
So, like,
what kind of work was it?
It was mostly like entrepreneurial program. Like you can start like apps or like websites or like like for my final project, I did like an AR storybook of like Alice in Wonderland. Like, yeah, it was fun, but I didn't know what I was getting into when I started the program, but like it was fun.
Yeah, I feel like that stuff is so helpful to like kind of introduce you to your future community and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you made so many good connections, and that's really cool that even though it wasn't like illustration based, it was still kind of helpful and kind of navigating your career.
Yeah. And they did like teach us a little bit like of business skills, like how to pitch projects or like, so that was really helpful. I didn't notice it then, but now thinking about it, I'm like, oh, like I learned that skill like in that class.
Did you always enjoy art, or did you kind of fall in love with it as you grew older?
I think like it's a very typical story. I was just like a kid that loved drawing. Yeah. And my mom and my sister used to draw a lot, like just for fun.
That's sweet.
And they would draw. They wouldn't like paint or anything. It was just like just drawing like faces or stuff like that. And when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, I want to draw like a face like them. And my mom really encouraged me to like pursue art and like do art. She would like keep
that's amazing.
Like all my little drawings. I think she still has like some of them. And so like I just never stopped drawing, I guess. And then when it came to like high school, she was like my mom was the one that was like, oh yeah, you should do like art, you should do painting.
That's so nice to have that kind of support. I feel like it's not the most common when you go into like an art career, because you know they just want us to like be able to live and make a living off of art. Do you think you could have gotten to where you are without all that schooling? You think that was like a very important kind of key to your success?
I think for me, I know like there's a lot of like self-taught artists, but like for me, it really like navigated where I am right now. Like all the education that I had like in high school and in university, especially with that specific prof, like that just like changed my whole perspective on what illustration is, what art is, what it can be, like how you can work or like how you can tell a story. Because like before that, I would just draw creepy things. And then I was
whatever
like,
you
it's
want.
just like a character that's like creepy. But then like adding the story element really like made me fall in love with art, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Can I ask you why you choose to use graphite for your work?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So for graphite is like very versatile to me. It's like it's very raw. It's very universal in like different cultures. Like I feel like everyone has like grabbed the pencil and like made a mark like at some point in their life. And graphite is like something that I always like turn to, even like when I was doing like digital art, illustrations, or when I was just doing like watercolor, I would always go back to like, for my own time, I would just draw in pencil or in graphite. So it was really like a personal thing, like for on that level. When I started like doing this series, I was like I was in a very like dark place, and I feel like I needed like a black and white. I just needed like black and white. I was like, I can't deal with color, like what goes with what, or like, and I felt like color was like taking away my attention from the story I wanted to tell, like through the art. Like it was distracting from the story. And it kind of helped me, because I have like very different influences in my art. It helped me to unite them in a way. It was like a uniting thread between all the different different styles. And it also like it lets you be like super light with it, and then if you go very dark, it can be like super dark. So I just love how the texture of it, I use it like on a watercolor paper, so like it gives me that texture that I can control. Another thing I love about it is that like I do like mechanical pencils. Like all of my work is done with a mechanical pencil,
which I think is very neat.
I know. Yeah. So like the reason I do that is because like it gives me control.
Okay.
So much control, like to the tiniest like mark that I make. Like that's why I love it. It's just like, and it takes forever, and it's so therapeutic. I'm like, yes, just like let me just just make some marks.
You must be so patient then.
I think it helps me calm down.
Okay.
Like just having the time to just like spend with paper and like just going over something over and over and over.
Yeah. Do you find yourself telling a lot of like your stories, or do you find kind of inspiration from what you see around you?
Ooh, I think a lot of it is, as I said, like you're gonna hear this a lot, like emotion, feelings, and all of that. Like I operate off of emotions.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is like an emotion that I'm trying to express, and then it gets triggered by either like a piece of music or like a poem I read, or like a book or a movie dialogue or something like that. It can come from anywhere, but the spark of it is always like that emotion. It starts with that emotion, and then I'm like, oh, this lyrics just hit so well. And then I have to like create something off of that.
Oh, so it's like your reaction really to different things and elements that you've been involved
a lot of it is like thoughts I have that I'm trying, that I can't like express it openly. And I try to like say it through like a visual I don't know, outlet.
Yeah. And a lot of your work does feature text in it, which it is Arabic?
It's Farsi.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. We use like the same lettering. So
So are you using like text and lettering to say specific words that you're feeling that are associated with that kind of emotion that you're trying to portray?
Yeah. So I think the first time I started like adding text in my work, I was just being very emo, and I was like, oh, like I want to put this like lyrics in my like drawing. The thing that I always like try to do, I try to like make it so you can't read it, and like so it's like not shapes. Legible? No, it's not legible. So it's mostly like shapes, and then you have to like look at it. Maybe you can find the word, maybe you can't. But like my intent is always like, I don't want you to be able to read it. It's just like, it's just like familiar things, familiar like words that you might like see. But then I'm like, that might not be what I meant. You might have just like put that together.
Other people kind of interpret
and another thing that I read somewhere that like in dreams, you can't read text.
Oh.
Or like so I don't know if it's true, but like I read that like you can't like read anything. So like if you're in a nightmare, just try to open a book and like then you will like wake up or something. Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but that's another thing that like I try to like put them as like jumbled like words and letters. So like it feels like dream-like.
It definitely does. Like even
like
just
a little bit surreal.
Yeah.
So you talked about how you make a lot of your art based on your emotion, and I feel like that's a very like vulnerable thing to do. Yeah. Were you always okay with kind of sharing that side of yourself with the public, or did you have to kind of gain that like skill?
Yeah, I think I was. As I said, I was very emo, and I still am. Like just like always like sharing like lyrics on everything. Oh my god, that's so much. Yeah, so like I feel like I never like cared that much but I used to like be more cryptic in my like work, like with the emotion that I was like expressing. I used to like mask it a lot and then like make it either like more like either more pretty or more creepy. Like there was no in between. There was no like
it's like the two extremes.
Yeah. So like with this last series, I feel like I'm at like a medium. I'm like there's some parts I'm telling you that I want to tell you, and then there's some parts that I want you to like decide on your own like what you think it means. So yeah, like it is. I don't like when people are like, what does this mean? What does this art figure it out yourself? Like, I have a meaning for myself, but like I don't want to like be like, oh, this is what it means, and if you feel anything else, like that's not like what it means, because I feel like that takes away from the experience of art.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like that's hard to, because so many people come in to viewing art thinking they don't know anything. Yeah. So they feel like they have to ask these questions to really understand it. But seeing art and being able to just kind of put your own meaning on it is a skill that you learn. Yeah. So it's really, I don't know, I commend you for opening up and really allowing people to have that space, because it's not very common.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not even about them like they think that they don't understand, but like I'm always like, what do you feel when you look at this thing? Yeah. That's the only thing that matters. Like, do you feel like joy? Do you feel like sadness? Do you feel like confusion? Whatever you feel, that's what it is. Like, you don't have to feel exactly what the artist like felt when they were like creating it, or like what they meant, because like it changes. Especially like with time, like a lot of things changes. So. Yeah.
And I feel like there's such like a stereotype, or I guess almost like a gatekeeping thing in art, where like your art has to have this meaning, like it has to carry so much of a story to it. Yeah. How do you kind of navigate that? Because your work does carry a lot of meaning, but at the same time, you want people to be able to experience it for themselves. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, my way is just like, I don't tell them what it means.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but like sometimes I do, like if they're like pushing me on it, I'm like, well, this is like my artist statement. Yeah, like this is I would just give like a high level of like what the idea is about, and then I'm like for example, like with this last series, I had like 8 different pieces, and then for me it had a order of like which one. Like, because it was a story in my mind, I had an order for this is 1, this is 2, this is panel 3. But then I would be like, yes, there is an order, but I'm not going to tell you what the order is. You decide what the order and you tell me. So then they would have to decide, and they would have to like make a story in their own mind. Right. So that I felt that was like really interesting, because like the orders were like so interesting to me. They had like rationale for it too. Oh yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
Making you
that
makes
more sense than my order. But like, yeah, it was crazy.
I feel like you've made like a game out of kind of appreciating art. Like, it's like, it's more fun, and it's like a safe space. So like there's no wrong answer, because I feel like everybody's always afraid to be like, oh, I hope this is right. Yeah. But it's kind of very open-ended. Yeah, exactly. Which is like really beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I don't even want like the viewers to get what I wanted to tell them. Yeah. Which is the crazy thing. I'm like, no, I want you to tell me what you see. actually, because like everyone's experiences like informs how they see art. So that's why like I feel like it's more interesting to know what they see in my art than me telling them what my experiences are and whatever.
I feel like you've already kind of gone through that whole process when you're drawing. So like to have other inputs is just a whole nother experience, really.
I agree.
Besides, I guess, the emotional part, do you find inspiration from other places, like your culture, your upbringing?
Yeah. Oh, this is something that like I really struggled with because when I was like back in Iran, my art was like very like Western. Like I did not appreciate like Iranian art like when I was like back home, and like I didn't understand it. I couldn't connect with it.
Right.
And a lot of like in Iran, like a lot of Western art, like music, movies, everything is like censored. They're illegal. Even like the art from before the revolution for Iran, like they're all like illegal. Like just getting access to them is like hard.
When was the revolution?
1979.
Okay.
So like, which is what drew me more into like Western art and music and movies and all of that. And the Iranian art before the revolution. So it was kind of like a rebellious thing. Like, I'm not like, I don't want to conform to your like censorship, to your, like all of that. So it was more as a way of like protesting that like I don't have access to this art, so I'm going to make this art kind of a thing.
Okay.
And then a couple of years, like I've always like after I moved here, I really wanted to try to incorporate like some sort of like Iranian identity to it. And I never could. It was just like, it was so hard. And then after like the protests that happened like for women life freedom, I was like creating a lot of protest art, just doing like tributes mostly to like all the victims. And then that made me like sort of like weirdly connect back into like my culture. And then I was like, oh, like I can like embrace it now. And then so right now the influences that I get, it's still like art from before the revolution. It's the visual elements of that era, like it's called like Qajar. It's like hard to say. And it's like an era of Iranian like art that introduced Western influences in art.
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
like so it has like a connection in that sense to me.
In what way? Can you describe a little bit of it?
Yeah, it was so they it was kind of like right after Islam like came to Iran.
Okay.
And then a lot of things were not allowed to, like you weren't allowed to depict like women in your drawings at all. Or like it was like a lot of like restrictions for how you depict like women and like men and all of that. And with this era, they were very like controversial. They tried that they started like bringing in women as like main characters. They would show people in their like idealized version, like Renaissance. Or like they would do a lot of their composition is very similar to European masters. So like when you look at it, you can see, you're like, oh, this is like the exact background of Mona Lisa. It's like, it's just like the composition is like exactly the same. And then they had like the women dancing in their paintings. They had women like bare chested. They had like, it was like a lot of like controversial, radical things for that time. So that's what I love about it. And all of these figures, they have like very rich colors, a lot of like details, but all their subject matter is all like, oh, they're having fun, they're dancing, they're like singing, they're playing music. It's all like fun subject matter. So for me, I shifted that. So what I take from there is just like the visual elements of their, like how their faces look. And then I shift the subject matter to like internal like struggles. Instead of like them having fun, you're seeing them having like an emotional revelation or something.
Right.
Yeah. I have like some Gothic and eerie like themes in my work, and a lot of surrealism. I love surrealism. So yeah, it's just merging all of these different things in one single piece. At least I'm trying.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite like surrealist artist?
Ooh, that's hard. I think Magritte.
Ooh, solid choice.
Yeah, and Dali, but like him specifically, like Magritte is like my all-time favorite. A new one that I didn't know before, I found Dorothy Tanning, I think. I love her work. I recently discovered her, and she's like almost in the same era, but I didn't know her. I'm really sad that I didn't know her, but like now I do, and her work is incredible. Like,
I'll have to look it up. I don't think I know either. Who is it?
I will send it. Dorothy Tanning.
Dorothy Tanning.
Yeah,
okay.
She's a surrealist painter, and she does a lot of stories in her work. I will send you like some of her work.
Definitely. Yeah.
When you're trying to capture like a dream, like I guess energy, do you find it hard to, I guess, organize all the thoughts, because dreams are kind of all over the place?
Chaotic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. Like I usually try to like merge elements with each other that they wouldn't usually go together, like how surrealist like artists used to do. But then I try to like the elements that I try to choose them so when you combine them, they mean something.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then a lot of like with the warping of the faces and everything, I feel like that already like gives you a sense of, oh, this is not reality. This is like somewhere in between, like being awake and being like sleep, in or limbo. Like being in somewhere else that's like that's not this reality. So like I feel like just even sometimes like one or two elements help you with like getting that dream state.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to really describe what surrealism is.
Yeah.
Do you think your work tends to like be situated in a time and space?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it's more like a moment in time that like I try to capture. It's like there's something happening. I don't know if you've ever noticed, like you're talking to someone and then for like a split second you see them like being like sad, or like you see them not being themselves for like a split second. That's the part that I really like to capture. I don't know if I do it, but like that's the part that I'm like, oh, that split second that like someone is like in between states.
Oh, the like mask off kind of state.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That's what I'm trying at least.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I feel like now I'm gonna like keep an eye out.
I know. Now
I'm like watching you. I'm like, have I been like disassociating?
Yeah. And I really like notice these things, and it's a problem because like then it bugs me. I'm like, oh my god, what's wrong? Oh no, are you okay? Like,
does that make you think about yourself?
Yeah.
Too, then?
And then like I'm always like aware of it. So like I'm like, okay, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, no, you have to like have your just be normal. Yeah, it's just like, yeah.
Does that mean in your work yourself, the figures that you're showing, is it a portrayal of yourself, or is it people that you've been like viewing or like talking with? And
it's both.
Okay.
A lot of them I think are like some parts of myself. Some of them are just like me looking externally, like through like a situation or a concept that I'm trying to like untangle in my own mind.
Right.
And then like the figures are always just like vessels for emotion to me again. Coming back to emotion.
Yeah.
It's just like a way to show that emotion. Like,
right.
And my favorite thing to like draw is always like eyes. Because I feel like that's where you can just put all of that emotion in, and hands too, for they're like very expressive.
They are.
Like, figures just in general. and in different like contexts, you can like have very different like meanings.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're my favorite thing to draw.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're the same, right?
Clearly.
Like,
yeah. Looking around, I'm like, there's a trend here.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you lean towards that kind of eerie, creepy vibe?
I have no idea.
You just like it?
I think I just like liked it since I was like a teenager. I just tend to like, I don't know, like alternative music and like Gothic literature or like I grew up like with a lot of like Tim Burton.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So, and I love like all his like drawings and like his early like short animations and like all of the things that he did. And I love that he could like make a whole like world and like get you into like his world. So I think it's his fault really that like I like creepy things. But I don't know, it just resonates.
You don't always have to know why you're inspired by certain things. Sometimes it's just, I don't know, you're drawn to specific elements in it.
Yeah, I literally don't have an answer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. What's wrong with me?
Yeah. I feel like when a piece of art is kind of unsettling or creepy, it kind of makes you look at it longer because you're like, what's off about it? Like, why does it make me feel kind of weird?
Yeah.
And it's kind of that weird, like, in-between air. I don't know how to explain it. But
Yeah, I think that's what I like the in between two worlds. Like that's what I love. Like even like with characters that I like in like books and movies, it's like people that are like not fully good, not fully bad. They're like they're gray characters.
Yeah.
So like I think that's just what I like in everything now that I'm thinking about it.
Do you use this kind of world building in your work to, I guess, explore ideas that you haven't quite thought of before? I know you said emotions and all that, but is it ways for you to process that in a different light, really?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of like my work, I feel like it's just therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's just like I do it so like I feel better.
Yeah.
and it helps. So like a lot of the times, it is just me, especially when I'm like improvising and drawing, like I haven't sketched it before. And then I look at it like a couple of weeks later and I'm like, oh, this is what I was feeling. This is why I recognize. This is why I used like this thing. Yeah. It's just like, I like looking back at it. And then a lot of the times I'm like, okay, this sucks, but but also like I understand why I made it.
Yeah, does the repetitive nature of like your, I guess, process kind of like soothe you?
Yeah, it is like a routine, honestly, like just going over the same eye over and over and over until it's like the right black. So like, it is, it does need patience, but it also like helps my mind like just
like turn off for a second.
Turn off and like just be quiet.
Yeah, we'll take a break here, and we want to do a little mini game to see how well you know your own work.
Oh no.
Okay, so for our little challenge, I'm gonna pass you this iPad.
Okay.
We're gonna do like 3 rounds of this game.
Okay.
But basically, you see those 3 images.
Yeah.
Me and Kat are going to give you a few keywords to describe one of those images, and you have to guess which one we're talking about.
Okay, cool. This is fun.
Yeah. Which I think is so funny because you're talking about like other people's perspective. I was like, oh my God, this is perfect.
I love it.
So we're both on page 1, correct? I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. My first word is going to be thinking.
Ooh. Thinking. Mine is destroying.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at where you got that from.
Destroying.
I can explain.
You said thinking and then you said destroying.
Yeah.
Oh shit. It could be like either of them. Okay, this is hard.
What's going through your mind?
C.
Why did you pick that one?
Only because of cats destroying. I was gonna go with B.
Okay.
For thinking. But then I was like, okay, maybe like they see C as thinking. Because because like I can see how you would say like destroying for like C, and then but I can't see destroying for B, which is my favorite thing. So please explain. I don't even know if it is. Maybe it's A.
Yeah, so the answer is B.
Okay.
I'm so curious about why you said destroying.
My main thing was I just noticed like I don't know what this is, the patterning. It was like flames. Yeah. It felt very like dark and kind of receding in ways.
Yeah. I should have trusted my instincts. I'll do better next time.
Okay, we can do the next.
I love that. Though.
Okay, I'm glad.
Amazing. Okay.
Right,
am I going to?
My word is going to be time.
Oh.
Okay.
I was going to say metronome, but that's like the same thing.
We're on the same wavelength for this one.
Does that make it too obvious?
C.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What word would you use?
For that?
Yeah.
Change, I guess. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of along the same line.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the last round.
Yeah.
You want to pick
like
this is so
these
fun.
ones.
This is actually so much harder than I thought it would be. I'm like, I thought it'd be harder to guess.
I mean, we can cut our
Giving
thinking
the hints
out.
is tough.
I know.
Do you have anything coming to mind?
Kind of introspective.
Ooh, introspective.
But I guess it applies to all your work, but still.
That's good enough.
Maybe ghost.
Again, it could be two. I'm stuck between two. I'd say B.
The answer is A.
Okay, I was stuck between like A or B.
Okay.
But because you said ghost, I was like, you're looking at that. Like,
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, that,
like
is that the
transparency.
ghost? Okay.
Tricked
I
you a
see that.
little.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that.
Nice.
This is so interesting. I just love like getting like other people's interpretation. It's like,
And having to look
And I
at
lost,
your art.
so,
Okay.
like-
No, you didn't. First off, you got one. That's good.
Okay, that's great.
Considering how hard we were trying to think, we're like, what do we feel?
Yeah. Wonderful.
Thank
Amazing.
you. That was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I
Thank
haven't really
you.
seen your work like together like that outside of like obviously Instagram and stuff. But
yeah, it's true. Like,
just like
Yeah, I
all
think-
the different kind of seasons, I guess, of what you've gone
exactly.
through.
Yeah, like when you put them together, that's how I felt too when I was like just making one of them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's fine. And then like when I put them together, I was like, oh, it's actually cohesive.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay.
Thanks so much for playing that game. And we're going to go back to asking you a bunch of questions.
Amazing.
Yeah. Since you have experience, I guess, both in the Canadian art scene and the Iranian art scene, do you feel like there's something specifically missing in the Canadian one?
Yes.
Oh, I love that immediately.
Yes.
Please tell.
It's mostly like just the lack of risk taking, I think.
Oh, that's interesting.
In, like Canadian. I mean, it's getting like so much better, to be fair. Like than like, let's say like 10 years ago when I came here, like, because there's in Iran, maybe it is because there's like so much constraints in art that people have to be like very like creative in how they want to say something without offending the government or like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like they have to come up with like different ways that is like so symbolic that like but like when you look at it, you're like, oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
But maybe it is because of that like you see very different forms of art or like exhibitions. I remember like I used to go to a lot of exhibitions back in Iran, and it was like very different executions, very different like styles, topics. I think like at least from what I've seen, it's not fair to say like that it's that all over Canada, but like from what I've seen, I think there's a lot of art that is similar to each other. I can't tell who the artist is. I think that's the only thing that I would say is missing, is that people don't take risks or like they would just stick to like one style and then like that's their whole like identity.
Yeah, they're not like branching out into different ways.
And you don't have to. That feels honest to you. Like you don't have to. But like I feel like there are still ways like with the same style to like push it a little.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like people do that.
No, I do feel like I can see that aspect of it. Yeah. And I think it's also different. I don't know if it's the same in Iran, but like there is a big difference between something that's commercial art and that's just like someone's putting on a show in like a basement, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So you don't really get that same level if you're comparing the two. But then again, I feel like my personal experience, Toronto tends to focus more on the commercial aspect, which I think is what you're seeing in that abstract work. Is it does feel very attainable for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I feel like it's somehow like the art here is more like a commodity, if that makes sense. Like it's not so much that like people want to express themselves. It's just like, oh, it's like I want to sell it, or like I don't know, not for everyone obviously, but like the majority of like the art that I see is like it's either, I don't know, like, oh, it goes with my home, or like it's like something like that is like, I'm like, okay. That's just like weird to me, because like for me art is like a different thing altogether. It's not like about selling necessarily. It's about like expressing, if that makes sense. And then I feel like there's so many different ways that you can express yourself, but then I see a lot of similar art, so like I don't understand that.
I mean, it could also be like Instagram and like social media. I feel like we're always going back to social media. But like just seeing how like everyone's kind of feeding off each other, and then like, I don't know, you see one image, you're like, oh, I really like this, let's bring it in. And then it just kind of like how faces are kind of becoming the same with plastic surgery, right?
Yeah, and I feel like when there's like a trendy art, everybody tries to like copy it. And then like, you can use like techniques, but like don't copy like the same style. I don't know. Yeah.
Have you noticed any other like trendy things happening, or like movements kind of coming up that you don't
AI
really
art?
Oh no.
I know.
Oh my God,
is that like even art? I don't know.
Let's get into that one.
I know that's like controversial enough. I don't know, like it's, or like NFTs, are they even a thing anymore?
I think they just like died.
Right?
I haven't heard about
it
that
in a while.
They were
like,
atrocious.
Oh my God, that stuff. Like I can't, that
don't
whole
even
thing.
want to think about it.
With AI, it's very like difficult, because like it has so many different aspects to it that like you're like, oh, you're sampling like existing artists' work. Oh, you're not paying them. Oh, like you're bad for the environment. Oh, like so many different things. But then I've also seen people use it like as a tool. So like I understand that like some people use it as a reference. Like, okay, like that's fair. Or like I've even seen like some people like use it and use it to come up with the initial idea that they can't like do themselves, execute themselves. And then they manipulate it enough that like it doesn't even look like AI. But when I say AI art, I feel like everyone knows what I'm talking about. Like it's very distinctive and like very like weird, like everything like
has like weird lighting.
Yeah, it's like very lifeless.
And weird hands and feet.
Oh my God, yeah. So like I don't know. I guess that. Yeah. I mean, to each their own. If you like it, good for you.
What have your experiences been with like applying for things, like open calls to either galleries or shows and stuff like that?
I used to like enter a lot of like contests for like illustration before, and I got like all my notes. I collected every no from every contest that I ever entered. And then I stopped for a while. And I only did like the ones that were free. And then I stopped that too. I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I don't want to hear no anymore. And then with this like last series, I was like, okay, I might like want to like try again and applying again. Because I was like, this is different. This feels different. So with this series, I was like more successful, like with all the things that I applied to. I got like 2 grants.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then I was like, oh, wow, like I can get grants. It was like a lot of, I got like a residency out of it.
Nice.
Like I got like so many like different things that I never thought that I would be like anybody would like pick my art. So like it just gave me, I think, the confidence to apply to them. But I still don't know how I feel about like paying to submit. I understand that like it is like good, and you get to like put your work in front of like a lot of people that they wouldn't see your work otherwise. But like, I don't know, I feel it's just like a lot of money to submit to all these like galleries, all these like open calls, because you just want your work to be seen. I see both sides. I don't know.
I think some people don't realize that like it is like $50 sometimes to apply, 50 USD to apply to some of these, like
to just like one exhibition. And then like you might not even get in.
No.
That's the thing. Like if they got it, if you got accepted into it, okay. Like I understand like processing fees and whatever. But like you don't even know if you're going to get in. And I'm paying like $50, $80 if you're like doing a series. And then it's like, no, thank you.
I feel like it's tough for if you're like up and coming too. And it's hard to like decide to say no to some opportunities because maybe you can't afford to pay like $50 every single time you apply for something.
And you don't know which one is going to be good for you. That's the thing. Like sometimes like the bigger the contest is, the bigger they're not necessarily going to be good. Your audience, they're not going to be like good for you. So like it's really tough like navigating that whole thing. I don't have an answer for you.
No, that's fine. I don't think anyone really has an answer about that. But how do you feel about, I guess, have you heard the term of vanity galleries?
Yes.
How do you feel about, I guess, do you want to explain what that is
those?
for everyone?
I don't know if I have it right, but like, it's like I guess like, I don't want to like name a specific area. Okay. It's like galleries that would show, that are like famous, and they would like have works that are like super expensive, and then but they're not really like gonna help your career in any way. It's just like the name is like a brand. And like you wanna like, I don't know if I have it right.
I think a big way in it is also that they generally ask you to pay to display.
Yes. That's
so it's like a pay to play kind of mentality. And they play off the fact that either they have these big brands or these big names, or they're in like specific locations where like Milan or something like that. Right? Like, you know what I'm talking about.
It like looks good on a resume kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they would be like, oh, like if you pay us like this much, you can be a part of this art fair, like Art Basel, or like you can be a part of this one. And then you're like, oh, like, but my work is going to be at this like thing. So like, it is I almost fell for some of them. Like in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, like my work should be in Paris. But then they were like, oh yeah, that'll be like $5,000. I was like, okay, thank you for telling me.
Is that just to apply?
Just to like,
you like have a spot?
You have like a spot at their gallery, and like and then they justify it. They're like, oh, like it's because we have to ship your work, and then we have to do this, and then we have. I was like, okay.
Meanwhile, you're paying to ship it too. It's
and then I'm like, okay, great. I'm not doing. I don't have that, but good to know.
I don't have too much experience with art fairs, but like, how is that different to purchasing a booth?
It is kind of the same. It is kind of the same. The thing, I don't have a good. I just didn't. I don't know another way. There's not like a lot of other opportunities to show your work, especially in Canada, especially in Toronto.
Canada,
Like there's literally like just Artist Project, Art Toronto, and Art Toronto is like for galleries. And like, where are the opportunities? Like,
there's smaller ones, but the problem with that is the curation in them just isn't there. So like if you do end up showing your work there, it just it doesn't help in the same way.
I see.
Yeah. So like, I just don't know what the correct way to like navigate that is. Like, where am I supposed to show my work? Like, is it just Instagram? Like, I have to like hope for the best that like people are gonna find me. I don't know. It is the same, I think.
It's just like, I guess a risk you have to take. And like, hopefully the right people will be there. You know, something magical happens.
Sometimes they are. Like sometimes it happens, but like a lot of the times it doesn't. So you can't win as an artist.
It's rough out here.
Real hard.
No, you can. I'm just being pessimistic.
You had a lot of success recently in your show, though, right? Like you had your work in a local gallery that sold a few of your pieces.
Yeah.
How did you end up that kind of communication, and how did your work end up in that show?
That was actually, I think, Robin actually sent me that call to like that open call to apply to, because she wanted to apply. And then she was like, oh, this is like an Iranian gallery. Like, you should apply. They do a lot of like works on paper. And then I was like, okay, like it is expensive. It's like 60 like USD or whatever. But then I was like, yeah, maybe I should. Because like it was their title, their gallery was like, the exhibition was like human condition. So it was like literally like my bread and butter.
Yeah,
so
yeah, really.
Like, okay, I should apply. And then I applied, and like the gallery owner, like the curator, she's like lovely. Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, I love your work. Like, do you have more? Like I can, and she sold like the 2 pieces that I had there. And then she was like, if you have more, like bring more. And then she has like some auctions that she does.
Oh, amazing.
So she included them in there. I think 2 of them sold there too.
Do you want to name the gallery?
Yes, it's Sahar K. Baluki. Yeah. So, yeah, she's been lovely. It's just super great.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many like, I guess, horror stories from artists talking about gallery owners and just dealing with galleries. So finding someone who's amazing and like treats you well is a treasure.
Honestly, yeah. And it's my first kind of like experience working with a gallery that is like selling your work. Yeah. So like I was like, I was like, is this how it is? This is so lovely. So yeah, she's been really great.
I feel like with art in that kind of art world, you get taken advantage of so much because there's such like a power dynamic, I guess. Have you ever experienced that?
I have, like with some galleries that like reached out and they said that they wanted to represent, and then like they were asking for like very like insane things. They were like, really? Okay, like we will do like 90% commission. And then I was
like 90 to you?
Yeah.
Or to
no,
them?
to them.
Oh, wow.
Like 90%.
Industry standard is 50-50.
Yeah. I'm like, what? 90? Like 90. And then they were like, yeah, because like you're starting your career. I was like, okay, but like 90 is a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
And then they were like, this is like our terms. Like if you want it. Like,
can you name names? I want to know.
I don't remember. Like it wasn't like a big gallery, obviously. It was something like in the US. I can send it to you like later if I find it. But I probably like deleted it because it's angered me so much.
Of course.
Like, okay, like this is like a lot. It's mostly that and the, like you said, the vanity like galleries that I get like so many of those emails like every like couple of weeks. Yeah. It's like, oh, pay like this much to be part of this fair. And then I'm
it's like the same script too every single time.
It's all the same.
All the galleries.
And I'm like, at least like change it up.
I wonder if it's AI writing it at this point.
Maybe.
Probably, right?
I think you're onto something.
Yeah. Make it easy, profitable.
Dear name.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I had that once. They emailed me and it was dear name.
Stop. They forgot to do it.
And I'm like, okay, well, this is just going to spam.
Yeah.
Don't even read the rest.
No, why would I?
That's crazy.
How do you, I know you have a day job, so I know there is quite, I guess, a stigma in the art world to being able to have a day job and also paint.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of deal with that? Do you feel that stigma?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why that there is one, because like
people,
especially with like how the economy is like, and like especially in Toronto, everything is like so expensive. So like not having a job is like crazy.
Yeah.
But to me, I honestly like enjoy having a day job, and I enjoy having a separation between having something stable that pays for my rent, for my necessities, and then having the freedom to create what I love, what I want to create. Because I feel like I don't have to think about, oh, I have to make this piece so it sells for like this much so I can pay rent. Right. So, you know, like I don't like doing that, because then that would make me want to make the same thing over and over and over. And I feel like my day job like gives me that freedom to do whatever I want, because like I'm not dependent on my art. I'm just like doing it to express myself. Yeah. So it is how you look at it, I think. I do understand that people think that you're not serious enough if you have a day job. But then I would be like, but I am spending all of my free time like creating art. I'm sacrificing like my sleep, my time with my friends, like so many things. So like I don't understand that you're not serious about it if you're doing like two things.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't get that outlook because you're spending so much more time to do the art. Like you have to be passionate about it to be crazy and do it after work.
And like my day job is like from 8 a.m. to sometimes to 8 p.m. even. Like it just like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then like I would start like my art like from 9 p.m. to like 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. So like I don't sleep.
I was like, I was about to ask him, like, when are you sleeping?
Yeah. I don't sleep, which like kind of explains all the surreal, strange, dream-like things. But so I'm like, I don't get it. Like I'm spending this almost the same amount of time as my like full-time job on my art. So like to me, it makes no sense.
No.
Yeah. Is the stigma coming from the clients or the other artists?
Galleries mostly.
Yeah, mostly galleries.
I
feel like I do feel like it does come from certain artists with bigger names.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because like, the privilege.
Yeah, they have the privilege.
Okay,
so they don't see that other people are struggling in certain ways. So they just carry it through. Yeah.
Yeah, because like they make so much that they don't have to think about like choosing one or the other. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I was like, I think it's pretty common for artists to have multiple jobs.
Yeah. A lot of them just don't talk about it. So like if you go on their social media or anything like that, you just see their art, right?
Okay.
So I've been like making a note recently, like, oh, maybe I should talk about like, hey, I actually work.
Yeah.
I can't just live off my paintings right now.
Oh my God. Now that you say that, I feel like I don't even share like anything about my work. Like,
it is also kind of like a security thing. Like I don't want people to know where I work.
No, but like I do like a lot of like events that I do like to share. And then I'm like, oh no, but like I can't share it. This is mostly for my art.
Oh yeah.
So like, I do have that now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, I think it's common.
Yeah.
Well, it was lovely having you here. Thank you for chatting with us.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Great talking to both of you.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to invite Lee to come over and show off his portrait.
Excited.
So excited.
That he's been working on.
Oh
Drum roll.
Oh my God.
You did it so quickly.
How did you do it so fast? Oh my God, I want to steal it. Can I? No.
Eventually you can.
Your brows look great.
Oh, thank you.
And the makeup too. Like you did it so well.
Oh my God.
That looks so good.
That does not look like me. Thank you for making
in a good way though.
No, in the best way. Like it looks so much better than me.
How do you feel?
Thank you.
How do you feel, Lee?
I feel okay.
Pretty good. Thank you so much again for being on this episode. If you'd like to take a moment to share your socials and any upcoming events that you'd like to tell the audience about.
Yeah, I only have like artist project from May 8th to 11th. And my Instagram is Anna Chur. It was supposed to be Anna Chur. I thought I was being so clever, but like amateur. If you can like DM me if you have questions, I'm always happy to talk to people. So,
subscribe to us here for more episodes.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram at clk.to and visit our website, clkco.ca.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another episode of the Gathered Arts Podcast. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
oh my God, thank you.
Yay.
Thank you so much. This was so